Hello everyone and welcome to Cooking Corner with Giuseppe CrimiVaroli. This week we're going to start our 3-week series on Thanksgiving specials. The first one being sweet potato cornbread. Alright everybody, let's go over the ingredients you're going to need for your sweet potato cornbread. The most obvious of which being sweet potatoes. You're also going to need some eggs, some sour cream, a stick of butter, pumpkin pie spice, sugar, and cooking spray. Now there is one more ingredient. It's in this bag here. It's called self-rising cornmeal. Now you can buy this or you can make it with these ingredients. The ingredients for self-rising cornmeal are salt, baking powder, cornmeal, and flour. Now for your hardware, you're going to need the following. You're going to need a scale to weigh out your potatoes. You're going to need a plate to cook your potatoes on. You're going to need a bowl to melt your butter in. You're going to need 2 forks to make 2 batters. You're going to need a measuring spoon to measure out some ingredients. You're going to need 2 bowls for 2 batters. And you're going to need an all-metal pan that can go in the oven. Now, I'm using this one, but you can also use like a cast iron or something like that. But it has to be oven safe. As always, folks, step number 1 is going to be wash your hands. Now, in these times, it's more important than ever to keep your hands free of germs, especially to protect your loved ones at the holidays. So, go ahead and turn your sink on. Get your hands nice and moist. Flick them out. Get some soap on them. Rub the soap all around. In between the fingers, on the back of the hand, get your knuckles under the fingernails. Stick them back into the water and keep washing it all off. Once you're convinced your hands are nice and clean, you can turn the water off, flick your phalanges out, and you're ready to cook. Alright folks, moving right along, we're on to step number 2. And step number 2 is going to be cook your sweet potatoes and mash them. So, for your sweet potatoes, there are many ways you can cook them, but by far the easiest is to put them in a science oven. Ooh! So, what you're going to do, take this fork and stab a bunch of holes in your sweet potatoes, and then stick them in your old science box here for 20 minutes at a 10-minute interval and 2 5-minute intervals. Check them after 15 minutes. They could be done. They might not be, though. That's why there's 5 more minutes on that time period. All right? So, you can get to channeling your inner Mike Myers and stab these potatoes. Yeah, baby! Swinging, it's groovy! Really shagadelic. Now that you've poked the holes in your potatoes, it's time to stick them in your science box for 10 minutes. And set it for... Nope, that's not it. Let's see here. Stop harassing me. I don't know how to do this.
Too much science.
It's too much science, I can. Memory? No, it can't be memory, right? Why is there a memory button on the microwave? That's not it.
Just try.
We can just do that then.
Okay.
And you're going to time out 10 minutes. And then we'll check them when they're done. Alright folks, now that the potatoes have been in for a few minutes, it's time to preheat the oven. This is going to be step number 3. So what you're going to do for this step is preheat your oven to 425 and stick your pan inside to heat up with the oven. Alright folks, our potatoes are almost done, so as soon as that timer goes off, we'll take them out, skin them, and mash them. Careful, they're going to be hot. Now, I've got another plate and my scale here. I'm going to turn the scale on and zero it on my plate. Alright? And since these plates weigh the same, now I can just calculate the weight of the potatoes. I need it to be 1.5 pounds. So, take your fork and carefully, because, you know, they're going to be very hot, peel your potatoes. Alright, now that our potatoes are peeled and weighed to 1 pound, 8 ounces, which is just what we need, we can finish off the step by mashing these potatoes. So go ahead, take your fork, mash them into mush. Now that our potatoes are weighed, peeled, and mashed, and the skin is burned off of my fingers, we can continue on to the next step. Moving on, we're on to step number 4. And step number 4 is going to be make your cornmeal mix if you didn't buy it. If you bought it, you can skip this step entirely. So, what you're going to do is you're going to combine 2 cups of cornmeal, a half cup of flour, 2.5 tablespoons of baking powder, and 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt in a bowl, and then mix it together. Once you've added all your ingredients to your bowl, just grab a fork and mix it all together. And just like that, your mix is complete. Now you're going to need 2 cups of this for the recipe. Alright folks, now that your cornmeal mix is all mixed up, you can head on to step number 5. And step number 5 is going to be make your dry mix. Now for your dry mix, what you're going to need, 2 cups of the cornmeal mix. Add that to your bowl and continue. You're going to need 1/4 teaspoon of pumpkin pie mix and 3 tablespoons of sugar. Go ahead and add those now. 1, 2, 3. 1/4 teaspoon. Once all your dry ingredients are in the bowl, just mix them up. Moving right along to step number 6, it's going to be make your wet mix. Now, for your wet mix, what you're going to do is add your sweet potatoes, 1 stick of melted butter, a cup of sour cream, and 5 eggs into a bowl, and then mix it all up. It is 5 eggs, right?
Yeah.
Now that all your ingredients are in the bowl, mix it until it's well blended. Once all your ingredients are combined, it should look like this. Now we're ready to move on to the next step. The next step is going to be step number 7, and step number 7 is combine your wet and dry mixes into one bowl. Now, mix them together. When you're finished, you should have a mixture that looks almost the same. However, it should be much, much firmer. Moving along, we're on to step number 8. Step number 8 is going to be bake your cornbread. Now, your pan should be hot because it's sitting in your oven. We're going to take that out, grease it with some cooking spray, and put this batter in it, and then bake it. Alright, now that your batter is in your hot pan, time to stick it back in the oven for 25 to 35 minutes. And then we can check it with a toothpick. Alright everybody, it's been 35 minutes and our sweet potato cornbread should be done. So let's go over to the oven, check it, and if it's done, take it out. Be careful because, you know, it's hot. That's looking pretty done to me, so let's take it out and serve it. Alright everybody, now that our sweet potato cornbread has had time to cool in the pan, it's time for the final step, which is going to be plating. Go ahead, grab yourself a spatula or a knife or something, I don't really care, and stick it all around the sides of the cornbread to loosen it up from the pan. And then get under it and pull a little maneuver to put it on a plate. Then you can get yourself a knife. Cut yourself a slice, and you're ready to eat. That concludes this week's episode of Cooking Corner with Giuseppe CrimiVaroli. I hope you liked the video. If you did, leave a like below. If you want to see something on the show, leave it in the comments. And stay tuned for the next 2 weeks for 2 more Thanksgiving specialties. And, bye-bye now.
Action.
Incredible. Alright everyone, now that
I'm sorry, I didn't know you were starting just then.
well, part of the clapboard was unclear, Tilly.